Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Ayush Chatterjee, Medical College, Kolkata. In this video, I am going to discuss about the arterial supply of diencephalon, ventricles of the brain and internal capsule. So let's begin. To study about the arterial supply of different parts of the brain, we must first study about the circle of Willis. The circle of Willis has a central role in the blood supply to the brain. It is an arterial ring present in the interpeduncular fossa, formed by anastomosis between the branches of the internal carotid and the vertebral arteries. Now let us find out the boundaries of the circle of Willis. Anteriorly it is formed by the anterior communicating artery, anterolaterally by the anterior cerebral artery, posterolaterally by the posterior communicating artery, and posteriorly by the posterior cerebral artery. As we can see in the given diagram, anteriorly, this is the circle of Willis. Anteriorly, it is formed by the anterior communicating artery. Anterolaterally, it is formed by the anterior cerebral artery. Then posterolaterally, it is formed by the posterior communicating artery. And lastly, posteriorly, it is formed by the two posterior cerebral arteries. So this whole thing we get is the circle of Willis. Now the cerebral arteries. The cerebral arteries are three in number: the anterior cerebral artery, the middle cerebral artery, which are branches of the internal carotid artery, and the posterior cerebral artery, which is the terminal branch of the basilar artery, which in turn is formed by the union of two vertebral arteries. Now given us the names of the branches of the three types of cerebral arteries and a mnemonic for each to memorize the branches. The first is the branches of anterior cerebral artery. The mnemonic is "You pushed an old fat pedestrian." So the branches are: for H, Hübner's recurrent branch; for P, we have the paracentral artery; for A, we have the anteromedial branches; for O, we have the orbital branches; for F, we have the frontal branches; and for P, we have the parietal branches. Now the branches of the middle cerebral artery. The mnemonic is "Frenchy paralyzed A train." For F, we have the frontal branch; for P, we have the parietal branch; for A, we have anterolateral branches; and for T, we have the temporal branch. Next is the branches of the posterior cerebral artery. The mnemonic is "Pop clause party top is priceless." For P, we have the posterior choroidal artery; under P, we have the posterior medial branches. For T, we have temporal branch; for O, the occipital branch; for P, posterolateral branches; and lastly for P, we have the parieto-occipital branch. Now the branches of the cerebral arteries can be subdivided into three main types of groups or subgroups. They are the cortical branches, the central branches or the perforating branches, and the choroidal branches, which supply the choroidal plexus. For this video, we will need only the central branches and the choroidal branches. Therefore, we are going to exclude the cortical branches, which are, in the case of anterior cerebral artery, the orbital branches, the frontal branches, and the parietal branches. These are the cortical branches. In case of middle cerebral artery, we have the frontal branch, parietal branch, temporal branch. And in case of posterior cerebral artery, we have the temporal branch, occipital branch, and parieto-occipital branch. So we are not going to talk about these branches in this video. The rest of them will find application in the coming slides. First we go to the arterial supply of the diencephalon. Now diencephalon is a part of the forebrain or the prosencephalon. It consists of mainly two parts, the hypothalamus and the thalamus. The anteromedial branch supplies the supraoptic and the preoptic nuclei of the hypothalamus. The posteromedial branch supplies the tuberoinfundibular and the mammillary nuclei of the hypothalamus and the anterior and medial parts of the thalamus, and the posterolateral branch supplies the caudal part of thalamus. Now, in this diagram we can see that this is a depiction of the hypothalamus with the thalamus and the circle of Willis. Now, the anteromedial branch, as we had already learned from the previous slide, are branches of the anterior cerebral along with the anterior communicating artery. So from their position we can easily make out that this anteromedial branch will supply the supraoptic and the preoptic nuclei, which are located in the anterior-most part of the hypothalamus. Similarly, the posteromedial branch, which are branches of the posterior communicating and the posterior cerebral arteries, will supply the tuberoinfundibular and the mammillary nuclei of the hypothalamus, which are located in the posterior aspect of the hypothalamus, and also they will supply the anterior and the medial portions of the thalamus, which are in line with the nuclei of the hypothalamus. And lastly, the posterolateral branch, which is contributed only by the posterior cerebral artery, will supply the remaining part, that is the caudal part of the thalamus. So these were the arteries supplying different parts of the diencephalon. Moving on to the arterial supply of the ventricles. The arteries supplying the ventricles are mainly those which contribute to the choroidal plexus of the ventricles. We know that there are mainly three types of ventricles: two lateral ventricles, one third ventricle, and one fourth ventricle. The anterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of the internal carotid artery, will supply the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. As we can see here, this is the anterior choroidal artery and this is the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. So the anterior choroidal artery will supply the choroid plexus or form the choroid plexus for the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. The posterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of the posterior cerebral artery, will supply rest of the lateral ventricle and the third ventricle. We can see here that the posterior choroidal artery is further divided into lateral part and the medial part. Both of them go and supply the choroid plexus of the rest of the lateral ventricle and of the third ventricle. So the remaining ventricle, which is the fourth ventricle, will be supplied by the third type of choroidal artery, which is the posterior-inferior cerebellar artery, a branch of the vertebral arteries. So here we get the posterior inferior cerebral artery, which supplies the fourth ventricle. So we can easily understand which artery will supply the choroid plexus of which ventricle by knowing their positions. Now moving on to the last topic, which is the arterial supply of the internal capsule. Now the arterial supply of the internal capsule can be easily remembered if one can memorize this diagram or this pattern of representation. This is a very easy representation. On the left side we have the one half of the circle of Willis with its branches. In the middle we have the names of the branches of the circle of Willis in order, and on the right we have a depiction of the internal capsule with its different parts. Now to make this pattern, first draw the circle of Willis, then label its branches in sequential manner, such as first we encounter this branch, which is the Hübner's recurrent branch. Then comes the anterior cerebral artery. Then here is a direct branch of the internal carotid artery. As an exception, we go with the posterior communicating artery after that, and then we come to the medial and lateral geniculate arteries, then the anterior choroidal artery, and lastly the posterior cerebral artery. So except for the posterior communicating artery, all other branches are in order. Then comes the pattern. first draw the internal capsule showing of its different parts: the anterior limb, the genu or the bend, the posterior limb, and the retrolentiform part. The sublentiform part cannot be depicted in a 2D diagram as it lies below. Now the first two branches make a third bracket. This is the Huebner's recurrent branch and anterior cerebral artery. They will supply the corresponding part of the internal capsule, that is the anterior limb. Then another third bracket involving the next two branches, that is direct branch of internal carotid artery and posterior communicating artery, will supply the corresponding part, which is the genu of the internal capsule. Now, along with the posterior communicating artery, the medial and lateral geniculate arteries and the anterior choroidal artery will supply the next corresponding part, which is the posterior limb of the internal capsule. Then again, taking the anterior choroidal artery and the posterior cerebral artery will supply the sublentiform part, and lastly the posterior cerebral artery again will supply the retrolentiform part. So we can see a very nice pattern here, that is the posterior posterior communicating artery, the anterior choroidal artery and the posterior cerebral artery are regions of overlap between supply of the corresponding regions of the internal capsule. So if like this pattern can be remembered and the points of overlap can be remembered, we can easily make out the blood supply of the adjacent areas of the internal capsule. So I hope this video has been of help to you all. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe. I will be soon back with many more videos. Till then, stay safe and be happy.